We can actually produce our own raw materials, we can produce our own fabric, but there's not resources in Afghanistan. We've got very good cotton here in Afghanistan, but there are no factories of manufacturing it. We've got wool, but the raw wool is exported into Pakistan, Afghan wool, and they bring it back and sell it on Afghan, which is a loss already. So if we get the resources inside Afghanistan, we can get the best wool, we can get the best cashmere, we can get the best cotton, and from there we can actually produce silk, produce cotton fabrics, produce suits fabric, so we don't have to rely on neighboring countries.
So the Ministry of Finance has a target from the IMF to meet a certain amount of revenue generation. And so they increased telecom by another 10%, so it's something like 24% of revenue that the telecom pay and ISPs. They doubled the taxes from 2 to 4% of BRT, doubled the customs from 2 to 4% on the basic rate. And all of those are to quickly make money and quickly increase revenue, which it did, and the government made its revenue targets. But in the long run, I'm worried that will have a negative effect.
I think the Afghan government really needs to rethink its economic policy. The current economic policy is mainly revenue-driven. Revenue-driven meaning that they have certain targets, that they want to meet that certain targets, and that it comes at a cost of companies trying to grow and expand. If it's a mindset or a mentality to generate revenue at the cost of private sector development, I think needs to be debated. Instead of squeezing existing businesses, I think work needs to be done to increase the tax base and maybe formalize the informal sector more so we can generate revenue instead of squeezing the same businesses for more taxes.
I would like the government to put together policies and regulations that are really encouraging for investors, encouraging for micro to small, medium to large investors. The government staff who are dealing with, for example, licensing and taxes, and they belong to various government organizations like the municipality and Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Commerce who are dealing with licenses. They are sometimes not sure how to deal with certain issues. So they need to be trained, and the policies and procedures need to be simplified and clarified for their staff and for the people, and should also be very encouraging to investors.
Make it easy for everyone to be able to pay, file, complete their taxes, so that that's not their headache. They're not wasting time. Every minute that a business is wasting time with the government, that means 1 minute less away from the private sector, from their own business. That means 1 minute away from generating revenue to be able to pay taxes on to the government. So it's detrimental to the government itself.
My recommendation or request from the Afghan government is to help support or take the hands of all these entrepreneurs and help them grow their business. I firmly believe that for all the startups, the government should give them tax breaks, like no taxes for the first 2-3 years.
I think neighboring countries, we have great examples what they have done with entrepreneurship. If that's tax breaks or if that's an environment that they can grow or a safety net for them to launch themselves. But in Afghanistan, that is unfortunately missing. I think big companies and startups are being put in the same pool to compete, and that's not possible. Startups require some nurturing.
So my recommendation, in order to improve the entrepreneurship in Afghanistan, we need something like a center that supports that. The reason for this one is we have only about 4% of our money in the banks. So my focus is more and more on individual investors. Millions and billions of Afghanistan's resources are with them. It's easier with them as well to work with rather than a financial institution in Afghanistan, but only a hub can connect these two communities, the investors and the entrepreneurs.
My recommendation, especially for the Afghan government and for the international friends, is to help these entrepreneurs in providing them, more technical expertise, trainings, mentorships, and all that, instead of, just putting in cash into their businesses. I do not ever believe that all these grants or all these monetary contributions to the entrepreneurs will ever help them grow their business. The best way to help these companies is to provide them mentorship, provide them expertise, bring in consultants who can sit down, who could help all these entrepreneurs in their accountings, in their finances, in their marketing, in business development, in helping them shape their ideas better. So in all those stuff.
The other reason that is also relevant to the issue is that some of the entrepreneurs does have the idea, but they need support. They need consultancy, business consultancy as well. They do have the idea, they know how to develop their idea, they do have the technical background as well, but they require a consultancy. They require support in terms of the knowledge of business, how to enter to the market. That's it. So AGHAEZ can support them in any way. AGHAEZ can deal with any challenge on behalf of the entrepreneurship community in Afghanistan.
There are a lot of issues, there are a lot of challenges, and there are always good solutions for almost every challenge in Afghanistan.
The government alone cannot address the issues. It cannot provide all services. It cannot address the needs of the Afghan citizens. So that's why we need a strong private sector to contribute to the economic development. And without entrepreneurship, that's not possible.
Entrepreneurs are focusing more on the social impact of their business. They're making new things, they're making improved things, they're introducing services and products that brings positive changes to the society. They're not only thinking about the margin they're going to have from their business.
Collectively, all these entrepreneurs are creating thousands of jobs in the market, and as we get more and more entrepreneurs coming into the market and starting new businesses, investing in new ideas, we will have more and more jobs being created.
This concept, this mentality of entrepreneurship that you can create something of your own and you can employ yourself, you can create employment for others. This is really needed. This is what we need to do right now.
I cannot emphasize any further about how important entrepreneurship is. The Afghan government, the donor community, and the private sector have to come together, have to collaborate, have to coordinate, have to cooperate for our future generation to have a decent means of living in Afghanistan.